These are 7 accessories that make my iPhone into a productivity machine. As someone who works for myself, a lot of times I work in cafes, airports, and trains. And so I've set up my iPhone to basically replace my computer and even my main camera when I'm not at home. Personally, I use the 17 Pro, but even if you're not on the latest iPhone, there's still a lot more they can do with it than you probably thought was possible. So I'm sure you'll get something out of this video. So the first item is the Magic Stand. There are a lot of MagSafe stands out there, and I've likely tried most of them. And this one by far is the best one I've ever seen. What's unique about this is that not only is it the thinnest MagSafe stand I've ever seen, it also gives you the most optimal viewing angle. This setup is super convenient if you ever do FaceTime calls or even do any sort of meetings, because you can just pop it up anytime and do a FaceTime call. Like, I use this all the time, probably like multiple times every single day. And even if you just wanted to watch a video, like you're eating and you want to watch a video, this is a really optimal setup. You can adjust it in many different angles. You could do landscape if you wanted, and it just collapses and kind of disappears into your phone. I think it's a lot more ergonomic than holding your phone down here or using a traditional MagSafe stand, which is at a low viewing angle. If you ever need to record something, this is also really convenient. Like, for example, I like to take videos of myself playing guitar so I can capture my progress. It's really convenient because I never have to find something to prop up my phone. Because it's completely made out of metal, it also feels really nice when it's collapsed, and it doesn't have like a plastic or fake leather as you might see on many MagSafe stands. It comes in a bunch of different colors that you can use to match to your phone, but I think the black looks super sick on the silver iPhone. But the only issue with this stand as a productivity setup for your iPhone is that the only thing you can really do is watch a video or be in a meeting. And that's where this next device comes in. So this is a folding keyboard made by the company iClever. When you unfold it, it's basically a split keyboard. And surprisingly, it's really nice to type on. You can easily switch between 3 Bluetooth devices, so you can also switch between your laptop, your iPhone, or any other device pretty easily. And with this setup, it's actually pretty overpowered because all you need to do is to bring this keyboard, which literally fits in your back pocket, and you can do work for many hours at a cafe, like writing, going through emails, and even vibe coding. There are a bunch of keyboard shortcuts already built into iOS, and they're pretty much exactly the same as macOS, so it's really easy to learn. For example, Command Space to open an app, Alt Tab to switch between different apps, and there's a lot more for specific apps. I think using a keyboard with my phone definitely transformed the way that I see my phone. There were tasks that I didn't think were possible or realistic to be done on my phone that I can now do just on my phone. For example, if you just needed to do some writing at a cafe, there's really no need to bring your entire laptop or even an iPad to the cafe. You can just bring a small folding keyboard like this. But with this keyboard specifically, even when I bring my MacBook to a cafe outside, now I like to also bring this one because it makes it so that my wrists are in a more ergonomic position and I can have the screen propped up a little bit higher. I think if you didn't have a dedicated keyboard at home, you could definitely use this as your dedicated keyboard. Like, the battery life is surprisingly long, and once you collapse it, it immediately goes into sleep mode. Originally, I got this to connect to my projector, which runs on Android. Like, I don't have a TV, and this makes it easier to search stuff up, pause, play, and I still use it for my projector because it's really easy to switch between different devices. But yeah, with this setup, with your phone like this, and your keyboard out like this, there's something about the setup where your phone and your hands are in this position that you're less likely going to be doom scrolling or wasting time on your phone. Like, this is just a productive position. A lot of times I like doing my flashcard reviews on my phone with this position because it's a little bit less distracting than my computer where I might have different apps or windows open. But at this point with the setup, with the screen and the keyboard like this, I know what you're thinking. And yes, you can actually connect a mouse to iOS now. If you turn on this setting in your phone called Assistive Touch, you can now connect your mouse to your phone, and there's actually a cursor. So for me personally, I like the MX Master series. I previously had the MX Master 3 that I gave to my girlfriend. So I'm using this MX Master travel size, which is just a little bit smaller. This is actually my main mouse that I use at home. And if I'm going out to a cafe and I have my sling, a lot of times I'll just bring the 2 of them and put them in my sling. And I basically have a setup that I can do work for as many hours as I need. But with this trio though, the stand, the foldable keyboard, and the mouse, you essentially have an iPad Micro that you can use to actually get work done. There's even ways that you can remotely log into your computer from your phone, which I'm going to show in the next video where I talk about what's actually on my phone. But probably the worst thing that could happen if you're out in a cafe with this setup is if your phone died. And so that's where this next item comes in, and it's the Anker 165 watt power brick, which can charge every single one of these devices and your phone multiple times. So usually the iPhone 17 Pro battery life is actually really good, and I don't think I've ever had it die in a single day if I had it fully charged in the morning. But if you're doing extended writing or vibe coding at full brightness on your phone, it may drain after a couple hours. Some of you guys recommended this to me in my last video, and I can say this is probably one of the most overpowered battery packs on the market. So this is surprisingly compact, but it's the maximum legal limit that you can actually bring on an airplane. But the thing that makes this battery pack stand out is that there's a built-in USB-C cable here that works as a hook. And there's also another super long one that is retractable. Since switching to the iPhone 17 Pro, pretty much all my devices are USB-C, and with the keyboard, mouse, and phone, they're all USB-C, so you can charge 2 of them at once while you're working if you need to. This power brick is also fast enough that it can charge my MacBook at regular speed. So if you do any sort of traveling, this is also convenient because you don't have to look for an outlet. This has 25,000 mAh, so it can charge your phone multiple times and your computer one time. Recharging this brick is actually really easy and super fast as well. So all you have to do is take this plug and plug it into any USB-C hole, and then it will charge this one. So you don't have to plug another wire into this. The other day I went to Disney Sea, and this came in handy because it could charge both of our devices fully and it still had more power left over. But the next item helped me replace my DSLR when I'm on the go. So usually when I film YouTube videos, I'm using my good camera, which is the DSLR that you're seeing right now. But iPhone cameras have gone to the point now where they're essentially more than enough for making YouTube videos. There's been more than a few times that I filmed videos just with my iPhone, and the way that I can do that is with this MacSafe accessory. This is a portable MagSafe monitor that you can plug into the iPhone and see what's on the front. So that means you can fully utilize the back camera, which is going to be way better quality. Obviously, this is most useful if you make content, but even if you don't make content, this could be useful if you wanted to use the back wide angle camera for a call, or if you wanted to take group photos. But if you do make content or you want to make content, this thing could help you save thousands of dollars. So I got this camera a few years ago. This is a expensive DSLR, and I've tested it with the latest iPhones, and it's actually kind of scary how little difference there is. So maybe I'll just show you an example. So let me just attach this right here. Okay, so I have my stand right here, and then I have the monitor right here, and then I'm gonna record myself. Okay. All right, so this is a DSLR, and then this is the iPhone. Let me know what you think. Is there a big difference? I don't think there's a big difference. I think if I fully switch to the iPhone, nobody will even notice. And a lot of times the iPhone is actually easier because there are no settings to mess with. And you can't really mess up the recording because on an expensive camera, you have a bunch of settings that you have to learn how to use. The only issue with this, if you record on your iPhone, is that the storage can add up pretty quickly. And that's where the next item comes in. So this is just a super small SSD that you can plug into your phone or computer. So it just plugs into the bottom of your phone like this. And you can either use it while you're filming, or you can just use it to transfer files. And you can just take this and plug it into any other devices. So you can plug into your computer or your iPad or anything else. If you take any 4K videos on your iPhone, this is going to be a massive life improvement because 4K videos always take super long to airdrop and sometimes they might fail. And so this just makes it a actual wired connection and makes it way faster. But even if you don't film anything, this is also a pretty nice compact SSD. Like this one I have is 2 terabytes and I can use it to back up a lot of different files. But the next item really helped me tie everything together and help me actually compartmentalize my phone as a productivity machine. And that's this, a brick. So this is basically just a NFC chip that you can tap with your phone. And then they have a pretty nice to use app that once you tap it, it'll just block a certain list of apps. So this is actually meant to help people reduce their screen time, but that's actually not the main reason I use this. I just use this to block out a certain group of apps when I'm trying to do work. So basically you can set up different categories of apps you want to block. And when those apps are blocked, you won't get any notifications from it. So I have one list that is called silence. And basically, when I activate it, I won't get any notifications from people messaging me. Obviously, you can just use Do Not Disturb, but I think this is a step better because you actually don't see the notifications at all. So there's no temptation to pull you in. But pretty much everything you can do with the brick, you can also just do it in iPhone automations for free. But I'm a big fan of this form factor, and I think what the company is doing is really cool. But yeah, with the brick, I think it's nice because you have to make the conscious decision to be like, okay, work time is over. Whereas when it's in Do Not Disturb, you can easily just switch between 2 different modes. But if you do want to reduce your screen time, I did make a video that's like one of the most viewed videos on this channel about how I reduced my screen time by 80% that you can check out. One more bonus upgrade that I want to share with you guys, and maybe only a small percentage of you guys would appreciate this, is that I had this sticker that completely eliminates the camera wobble when you lay it down flat on the table. So my iPhone, when you lay it down on the table, it has no wobble at all. But yeah, I basically got these rubber stopper stickers from my apartment, and I had a bunch of them left over, and I found out that they were the exact height of the camera bump. And so I put them on the flashlight, and then the camera wobble completely disappeared. So yeah, I think that was a pretty nice upgrade. It's probably not worth buying a pack of these stickers just to remove the camera wobble, but if you have something like this laying around, it could be helpful to you. But yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know what you thought of this, and make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to post more on there. And also, what do you think of my beard? I've been growing out since the last video, and I'm not sure if I want to keep it or shave it. Yeah, also, do you like this angle better? This is behind my desk. Do you like this angle better, or do you like the previous angle where it's facing the window? Let me know in the comments. I'm still trying to find out what is the best place to film in my apartment. And yeah, so I'm going to make a video about what's on my iPhone in the next video, like show you my setup and also really useful apps that I've been using. And also I post a video on my channel memberships, which is an apartment tour. So if you're interested in the apartment tour, you can check it out. But yeah, hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in the next video. Let's get it.